What is up, my nerds? I'm gonna turn the intense ambience down just a little bit here. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the stream. You may be wondering, Grizz, what kind of video game is this? Well, this is where things get interesting, my beautiful nerds. This, while not a video game, is in fact research for a video game. The whole point of the Cryptid Codex streams, which we haven't done these in a while, so I understand why it could be kind of confusing, and why we're streaming on Sunday. Like, what the heck? You don't stream on Sundays. I know. But we're changing that. At least for now. We'll see how well this stream does. So, the whole point of these Cryptid Codex streams, and here in a minute, Panda's gonna join. That's why there's so much space here. The whole point of these streams, the Cryptid Codex streams, is we are researching the history of states, and the history of the United States specifically, and we will be delving deep into the monstrosities and mythologies of the United States. We're going each state by alphabetical order, and as we're going through, we are actually tracking where they were last seen, supposedly. I know that not all these stories are true, but that does not keep this from being entertaining. So, we have already gone through Alaska, which had some really interesting history. And we've also already gone through Arizona, like you saw back there. Now, you may see a few out here, which is kind of weird, I know, but that is because, for a time, Alaska interconnected with a lot of this stuff. This landmass interconnects with all of this. And so, a lot of these stories are by the Inuit people, and so we moved from just Alaska to where a lot of the Native American tribes once resided before settling in Alaska. So that's why some of it's in Canada, some of it's further up here. It's because all of these people were once all over these places. Also, fun fact, I didn't realize this. Did you guys know that Alaska used to be owned by Russia? And then we bought it from them for like dirt cheap for this much landmass? It was crazy. And so, then we traveled from Alaska to, let's see. Oh no, wait, sorry. We did Alabama first. And then we did Alaska. And now, we just finished Arizona. And we're trekking into the land of Arkansas, surprisingly enough. So, as we're tracking all of these places, we're also tracking where their last sighting was, essentially. And if you guys are from any of these places, and you have some crazy stories, please, please, let me know. I would love to hear these stories. So, what we're doing is we're chronicling where these creatures were seen, supposedly. And we're trying to find evidence for if these stories are even possible. We're trying to get all the information. I'm doing a lot of that in the background. What these streams are for is putting the creatures in the spotlight. And eventually, all of this data and all of these entries are actually going to culminate into a video game that I'm making right now. Or will make in the future. But all that research has to be done at some point, and so I think it's fun to do it on stream. And if you want more information on what that game is going to be like, or just the general reason for these streams, consider joining our Discord, and or going and watching the actual Cryptid Codex. Wifey is about to join the stream. So, that is all of the reason for these streams. now we are going to get into the nitty-gritty and go through all of these different stories tonight. Super excited. Some of these are obviously not real, but some of these other ones, we've run into one or two stories already that I think I may have been bought over into, you know? So, I'm gonna give it just a few more seconds, and then we're gonna get into it. Who we got in the chat? What's up, y'all? Hi, baby. Thank you. I'm just giving the intro, explaining what it's all about. Do what? That's okay. That's not a bad thing. So who we got in the chat? Where y'all from? What crazy stories you got to tell? Also, I just love looking through, like, the Google Maps and everything. And seeing hearing that one tale of people saying that this is Jormungandr or something. The great serpent of the earth. Coming to devour the world and kill Thor, Odinson. All that fun stuff. Also, it's crazy cool how detailed that these cameras can get sometimes. At these space age cameras, I mean. Look at that. There's definitely something living in that. That's so cool. It's all cool until we zoom in too much, and then it's just a bunch of roads. Like, restraining the visuals of everything. But yeah, we found some stories around in here that were really cool. The Keelet and the Tornet were crazy cool stories. You guys should go check out, I think it's part 2 of the Alaska Cryptid Codex series. Cryptid Codex entry. I had the Tornet and the Keelet, which were really cool stories. And the Amikuku is really creepy. Okay. No worries. We're just going... I've just been explaining what these streams are for. What the Cryptid Codex is. Thank you for grabbing the drinks. And we got Kirsty, who's gonna do some crochet stuff.
Yep.
Which we don't have the crochet camera set up right now.
I'm just gonna crochet for me.
Okay. Come on in here. You okay, baby?
Yeah.
Alright, so I just finished explaining what the stream is for and what the Cryptid Codex is and everything, and how we started with Alabama, and we may honestly go back to Alabama just in case there's something I missed. Also, we didn't get to read the history of Alabama, so which this one I think was just me, and we talked about some of the creatures, and then We talked about Alaska, which had a few stories, but it kind of expanded into this whole area up here. And then we finished Arizona, which you were part of that one, where we went over all these different creatures and things. And now we're on to Arkansas, which is your home state, right, babe?
That's where I was born, yeah. But I've lived in Oklahoma most of my life.
Yeah. So, we'll start off with a little bit of Arkansas history.
Arkansas. It is Arkansas. It is Kansas.
Arkansas. Okay. The history of Arkansas began millennia ago. When humans first crossed into North America, many tribes used Arkansas as their hunting lands, but the main tribe was the Quapaw, who settled in the Arkansas River Delta upon moving south from Illinois. Early French explorers gave the territory its name, a corruption of Arkansas, which is a phonetic spelling from the Illinois language word for the Quapaw. This phonetic heritage explains why Arkansas is pronounced so differently than the U.S. state of Kansas.
It's not Arkansas.
It's true, even though they share the same spelling. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What began as a rough wilderness inhabited by trappers and hunters became incorporated into the United States. Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you. I'm okay, sorry.
What began as a rough wilderness inhabited by trappers and hunters became incorporated into the United States as part of the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, and later became the Arkansas Territory from 1819 to 1836. Upon gaining statehood on June 15th, 1836, Arkansas had begun to prosper under a plantation economy that was heavily reliant on slave labor.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Stinky. After the American Civil War, Arkansas was a poor rural state whose main economic base revolved around agriculture based chiefly on cotton production. In the late 19th century, the state instituted various Jim Crow laws to disenfranchise and segregate the African American population. This would last until federal legislation was passed in the 1960s. During the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s, Arkansas, and particularly Little Rock, were major battlegrounds for efforts to integrate schools. That's not where Remember the Titans is set, is it?
I'm not 100% on that. If it is or if it isn't, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but I can't remember.
Yeah. The state started to see some economic prosperity during and after World War II in the 1940s. Arkansas became the base for retail corporation Walmart during the 1960s,
I know that.
which is headquartered in Bentonville.
Whoa.
Walmart would later become the world's largest company by revenue. During the 20th century, different Arkansas political leaders would become nationally prominent, including the 42nd U.S. President, Bill Clinton, who was governor of Arkansas. I didn't know he was governor of Arkansas. All right. Early Arkansas. Beginning around 11,700 BCE, the first indigenous people inhabited the area known as Arkansas after crossing today's Bering Strait, formerly Beringia. The first people in modern Arkansas likely hunted woolly mammoths by running them off cliffs or using Clovis points, and began to fish as major rivers began to thaw towards the end of the last great ice age. Around 9500 BCE, forests also started to expand, enabling local peoples to engage in greater gathering. Crude containers became a necessity for storing gathered items. Since mammoths had become extinct, hunting bison and deer became more common. These early peoples of Arkansas likely lived in base camps and departed on hunting trips for months at a time. Let's see. Oh, we might read that. Okay. We're gonna read Woodland and Mississippi periods, and then the first settlement.
Okay.
Do you think we should read Expeditions of De Soto? This does seem kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think we should.
Do you want to read this one, and I'll read Expeditions?
Sure.
All right.
Oh, okay. This one.
Loud.
1 minute. I thought you were going to read the other one first. Okay. Further warming led to the beginnings of agriculture in Arkansas around 650 BCE. Fields consisted of clearings, and Native Americans would begin to form villages around the plot of trees they'd cleared. Shelters became more prominent, and pottery became more complex. Burial mounds.
Burial? Burial mounds?
Burial mounds.
Burial
I had a
mounds.
stroke. Surviving today in places such as Parkin Archaeological State Park and Toltec Mounds Archaeological State Park became common in the northeast Arkansas. This reliance on agriculture marks an entrance into Mississippian culture. Around 950 CE, wars began occurring between chieftains over land disputes. Platform mounds gained popularity in some cultures. The Native American nations that lived in Arkansas prior to the westward movement of peoples from the east were the Quapaw, Caddo, and Osage nations. While moving westward, the 5 civilized tribes inhabited Arkansas during its territorial period.
Big. Okay. The Expeditions of De Soto, Marquis, and Joliet? I'm not sure. The first European contact with Arkansas was the Spanish expedition led by Hernando de Soto in 1541. De Soto wandered among settlements, inquiring about gold and other valuable natural resources. He encountered the Cascue in northeast Arkansas, who sent him north around Devil's Elbow to the Pacaha, the traditional enemies of the Cascue. Upon arrival in the Pacaha village, the Cascue, who had followed behind De Soto, attacked and raided the village. De Soto ultimately engaged the 2 tribes' chiefs in a peace treaty before continuing on across central Arkansas and into the Ozark Mountains in his search for riches. After finding nothing he considered of value and encountering native resistance the entire way, he and his soldiers returned to the Mississippi River, where De Soto fell ill. He died the following day in what is believed to be the vicinity of the modern-day MacArthur, in May 1942. Soto's body weighed down with sand, and he was consigned to a watery grave in the Mississippi River under the cover of darkness. De Soto had attempted to deceive the native population into thinking he was an immortal deity, son of the sun, to forestall attack by outraged Native Americans on his by then weakened and bedraggled army. I lost where I was.
To keep the ruse up, the men informed the locals that Soto had ascended into the sky. Second row of text.
Oh, nice. His will at the time of his death listed 4 Indian slaves, 3 horses, and 700 hogs, which were auctioned off to his men, his starving men, who had been living off maize stolen from Native Americans and who had not been allowed to eat the enormous herd of hogs, but had to care for them, immediately started to butcher them. Later on, his remaining men, now commanded by his aide de camp Moscoso, attempted an overland return to Mexico. They made it as far as Texas before running into territory too dry for maize farming, and too thinly populated to sustain themselves by stealing food from the locals. The expedition promptly backtracked to Arkansas. Bless you. After building a small fleet of boats, they then headed down the Mississippi River and eventually onto Mexico by water. You okay, bud?
I'm using it a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, my allergies are hitting me too. Let's see. In 1673, French explorers Jacques Marquis and Louis Joliet reached the Arkansas River on an expedition to map the Mississippi River. After a calumet with friendly Quapaw, the group suspected the Spanish to be nearby and returned north. Alright. And then...
The first settlement.
Do what?
Or you're gonna read the first settlement.
Yeah.
Next.
I feel like this is important too.
Okay.
Do you want to read it or me?
I can read it. Robert LaSalle entered Arkansas in 1681 as part of his quest to find the mouth of the Mississippi River, and thus claim the entire river for New France. LaSalle and his partner Henry de Tonty succeeded in his venture, claiming the river in April 1682. LaSalle would return to France while dispatching de Tonty to wait for him at the hold Fort St. Louis. On the king's orders, LaSalle returned to colonize the Gulf of Mexico for the French, but ran around in Matagorda Bay. LaSalle led 3 expeditions on foot searching for the Mississippi River, but his third party mutinied near Navasota, Texas in 1687. De Tonty learned of the LaSalle's Texas expeditions and traveled south in an effort to locate him along the Mississippi River. Along his journey south, de Tonty founded Arkansas Post as a waypoint for his searches in 1686. LaSalle's party, now led by his brother, stumbled upon the post and were greeted kindly by the Quapaw with fond memories of LaSalle. The troop thought it best to lie and say LaSalle remained at his new coastal colony. The French colonization of the Mississippi Valley would end with the later destruction of Fort St. Louis, were it not for de Tonty establishing a small trading stop, Arkansas Post. The party, originally led by LaSalle, would depart the post and continue north to Montreal, where interest was spurred in explorers who had the knowledge of the French had been holding in the region.
Okay. The first successful European settlement, Poste de Arkansas, was established by Henry de Tonty in 1686 on the Arkansas River. The post disbanded for unknown reasons in 1699, but was re-established in 1721. Okay, so about 22 years in difference, in the same location. Sited slightly upriver from the confluence of the Arkansas River and Mississippi River, the remote post was a center of trade and home base for fur trappers in the region to trade their wares. The French settlers mingled, and in some cases even intermarried with Quapaw natives, sharing a dislike of English and Chickasaw, who were allies at the time. A moratorium on furs imposed by Canada severely affected the post's economy, and many settlers began to move out of the Mississippi River Valley. Scottish banker John Law saw the struggling post and attempted to entice settlers to immigrate from Germany to start an agriculture settlement at Arkansas Post, but his efforts failed when Law created Mississippi Bubble burst in 1720. The French maintained the post throughout this time, mostly due to its strategic significance along the Mississippi River. The post was moved back further from the Mississippi River in 1749 after the English with their Chickasaw allies attacked. It was moved downriver in 1756 to be closer to the Quapaw defensive line that had been established and to serve as a repent or trading post during the 7 Years' War and prevent attacks from the Spanish along the Mississippi. In 1762, the secret treaty of Fontainebleau transferred control of colonial Louisiana including present-day Arkansas, to Spain in exchange for Florida. The Spanish showed little interest in Arkansas, except for the land grants meant to inspire settlement around the posts. Afterward, the post was again moved upward out of the floodplain in 1779. Its position 4 miles up the Arkansas River made it a hub for trappers to start their journeys, although it also served as a diplomatic center for relations between the Spanish and Quapaw. Many that stopped at Arkansas Post were simply passing through on their way up or down river and needed supplies or rest. Habitants included approximately 10 merchants, some domestic slaves, and the wives and children of voyagers. A small detachment of the Louisiana Fixed Infantry Regiment lived inside the fort, tasked with protecting the village of Arkansas Post nearby. On April 17, 1783, present-day Arkansas experienced its only battle of the American Revolutionary War when Captain James Colbert of the 16th Regiment of Foot led a force of British partisans and Chickasaws against the Spanish village and fort.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So what cryptids are we looking at today?
We have got a good list of cryptids today. I've already mapped out where they are. Hold on. Yeah, there's Alabama. This is Arkansas. So, to begin, we have the White River Monster. In Arkansas folklore, the White River Monster is a large creature reportedly first spotted off the banks of the White River near Newport in northeastern Arkansas. So that would put it about in this general area. Because this town is Newport, and they said White River. So it's on this river somewhere, which is a pretty big river.
Yeah, snakes around a lot.
Mm-hmm. It just keeps going, too. I don't know where it actually stops. So this one river could go through, like, all of Arkansas.
Well, can you scroll out a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Is this where it ends? Or does it keep going?
No.
Oh, it keeps going. Still White River.
It looks like it eventually merges into the Arkansas.
Yeah, into the Mississippi River.
So it was
Dang.
probably just an offshoot from water spout in Kansas that's making its way back to the
Yeah.
main Mississippi.
Okay, so this creature was seen south of Newport, so in this general area. Spotted off the banks of the White River near Newport in northeast Arkansas. Although reported in the press as a monster, it is reported to be a deeply loved by neighborhood resident near this portion of the White River, and the monster is referred to locally as Whitey. Wow.
Oh.
We need to get better at naming our cryptids, guys. Come on. Some believe the White River Monster may have affected the Civil War. The river was used for transportation, and the monster was supposedly responsible for overturning a boat. Sightings of the monster began in 1915, on July 1st of that year. An owner of a plantation near the river saw the monster. He reported it having gray skin and as wide as a car and 3 cars long. As the news spread, construction of a rope net began, but ended due to lack of money and materials. In the first week of 1937, recreational fishermen noticed that they were finding it hard to land many fish, and the creature was spotted again and reported to Bramlett Bateman. and nearby plantation owner. A nearby plantation owner, who later confirmed the sighting, describing it as having the skin of an elephant, 4 or 5 feet wide by 12 feet long, with the face of a catfish, lolling on the surface of the water. Feeling the creature was a threat to his crops, somehow, he intended to blow up the eddy where the creature was spotted with TNT, but area authorities denied necessary permission. Minor media sensation resulted in visitors from across the nation, some bringing cameras, explosives, and a machine gun. And when no more sightings were made, when a plan to capture it with a giant net failed, and when a deep-sea diver failed to find the creature, Bateman was thought to have created a hoax, despite over 100 confirmed sightings recorded during the short period of excitement. The White River Monster was spotted again in the summer of 1971. That year, eyewitnesses who encountered the creature described it as the size of a boxcar, with a bone protruding from its forehead. It looked as if the thing was peeling all over, but it was a smooth type of skin or flesh, said one, and it made strange noises that sounded like a combination of a cow's moo and a horse's neigh. Other accounts of the White River Monster described 3-toed tracks, 14 inches in length, on Towhead Island, leading down to the river through a path of bent trees and crushed bushes. In 1973, the Arkansas State Legislature signed into law a bill by State Senator Robert Harvey, creating the White River Monster Refuge along the White River. The area is located between the southern point on the river known as Old Grand Glaze and a northern point on the White River known as Rosie. It is illegal to harm the monster inside the refuge.
Okay.
Okay, we've got some of those accounts of witnesses here. If you want to read these, you can.
Okay. The White River Monster is one of Arkansas's premier mysteries. Since 1915, along the White River near Newport, Jackson County, the monster has appeared several times has become a local legend. Sightings of Whitey began in 1915, but were sporadic until 1937. On July 1st of that year, Bramlett Bateman, owner of a plantation near the river, saw the monster. He reported it having gray skin and being as wide as a car and 3 cars long. As news spread, construction of a huge rope net to capture the monster began. The monster had been seen in an eddy, so the driver was brought in to search for it. However, Whitey was not captured, and then construction of the net stopped because of lack of money and material. In 1971, the sightings began again, when someone reported seeing a gray creature with a horn sticking out of its forehead. Other witnesses describing it having a spiny back 20 feet long. Later, the trail of 3-toed, 14-inch prints was found in the White River area. Crushed vegetation and broken trees were evidence that something large had passed by, and it was assumed that the tracks were Whitey's. In 1973, the Arkansas General Assembly passed Senate Resolution 23, sponsored by Senator Bob Harvey, creating the White River Monster Refuge along the White River. This area, located between the southern point of the river, known as the Old Grand Glaze, and the northern part on White River, known as Rosie. It is illegal to harm the monster inside the refuge. While there have been no recent sightings, theories about Whitey abound. It was hypothesized that anything from a huge fish to an elephant seal, though none of the theories fully explain Whitey.
Okay, so that was... I thought that had no info. It was more of... just kind of more of the same. So what are we thinking?
I think it definitely could have... I mean, it mentioned the elephant seal. It could have definitely been one that just, like, wandered up the Mississippi River and broken off into the Arkansas River and just kind of got
wandered
stuck.
up the Mississippi?
What?
Do You think it went up the Mississippi?
I mean, it's the only way it could have come in from the ocean.
You think oh, okay.
I think it migrated in.
I would be very surprised if an elephant seal went that far in.
I don't know how else it would have got into the land. Unless it was a breakout from a zoo or something.
Are you okay, baby?
It's not feeling so good.
Okay. Well, if you're not feeling too well, baby, you don't need to stay for the whole thing, you know.
I know. I just want to be here for a little bit.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So, let's see. That was weird. I thought I typed. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It won't pull up my documents.
That's weird.
So, let's see. Alright, so White River Monster, you're saying you think it could be an elephant seal?
I mean, that's what they suspected it, and if it is, I think it had to have wandered up and got stuck somehow. I don't know how that would be, but...
Yeah, I'm not buying the elephant seal. See, they were talking about 3-toed footprints that were 14 inches wide. Skin like an elephant, that does kind of resemble that of a elephant seal, so that does make sense. But 1 car wide and 3 cars long? I don't know about that one. They said it had the face of a catfish. Some people did, at least.
No, that may have just been its aquatic nature.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like everything's pointing for me towards like a possible animal.
Yeah.
And it's not, nobody ever killed it and they weren't allowed to hunt it, so.
Yeah. I have a feeling they protected it though so people would stop trying to blow up the river.
Yeah. Okay. That takes us towards the legend of Boggy Creek. Alright. The Legend of Boggy Creek, 1972, was the first in a series of 3 Boggy Creek films, loosely based on a legendary monster of southwest Arkansas. It was directed by Charles Pierce of Texarkana from Miller County, and written by Earl E. Smith. The film, shot as a faux documentary-style drama, centers on the real town of Fuke, or Folk, or Miller County. Since the 1940s, many sightings of a creature known as the Folk Monster, or Fuke Monster, have been reported. The film presents an interesting portrait of southern swamp culture in the 1970s by juxtaposing interviews with local citizens, ranging from a police officer to hunters, talking about their experiences with the creature with dramatic recreations of some of these purported encounters. According to witnesses, the creature is similar to Bigfoot, standing more than 6 feet tall and covered with hair. Many claim to have fired upon it, and although some say it is dead, others think it is alive. So, let's see. This is talking more so about the movie of The Legend of Boggy Creek, which is apparently based on a true story, supposedly. Let's see. So that leads to the monster that is well, I thought I had more info on the Fuke monster.
Fuke Miller County is a small town in southwestern Arkansas that has attracted attention in the early 1970s when a resident of Texarkana, Miller County, reported being attacked by a mysterious creature there. A reporter for the Texarkana Gazette wrote an article about the events, and from that small publication, a legend was born. Fook and its monster became famous and were featured in a 1972 movie. That's quite a quick turnaround. Because if the Texarkana report was in the early 1970s, but the movie was in 1972. Yeah, it says in May of 1971, Bobby Ford reported to the Fook constable that he was attacked at his house by a hairy creature that breathed heavily, had red eyes, and moved very fast. Yeah, that means in the next year they had already released the movie. What the heck?
Huh.
That was a quick turnaround.
Do you think it's fake?
That's what I'm getting.
Staged?
It's quick. It's so quick. Ford said that the man-like creature, normally those things take a few years to get it, to prove to someone that it's worth investing at time. Like, that was like featured in a 1970 movie. That means it was released in 1972. And they had to start working on it, and the process was not as seamless as it is now. So, like, good grief.
Interesting.
Which is about 7 feet tall and 3 feet across the chest, put its arm around his shoulder and grabbed him. I think he was just flirting with him. Ford broke free from the creature and ran, reporting that he ran so fast that he did not stop to open the front door but barreled right through it. He was treated at a local hospital for minor scratches and shock. Dang. Ford said that the being had been around his house for several days and that there were other eyewitnesses, including his brother and a hunting companion. Ford's wife, Elizabeth, claimed that she was asleep in the front room when she saw a hairy arm with claws coming around the window. She also saw the creature's red eyes. On the night of the attack, Ford claimed he and his hunting companion spotted the creature at the back of Ford's house with the aid of a flashlight. They shot at it and thought they saw it fall. The men started out toward it, but Bobby Ford ran back to the house when the group heard women screaming. Upon Ford's return to the house, he was attacked. The men shot at the creature several more times, but investigators never found blood. The sheriff's department searched the area, and the only things officers found were a set of strange tracks and claw scratches on the Ford's porch. Jim Powell, then a reporter for the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily News, and Dave Hall, then director of Texarkana radio station. Oh, here we go. The media. Whipping up a firestorm for a movie. Went to Ford's place and found a terrified family moving out of the house it had owned less than a week. Hall wrote an article that appeared...
They owned it for less than a week?
And they moved out because of all that? Hell...
You okay?
I'm sadly not feeling good. Hall wrote an article that appeared in the newspaper outlining the family's alleged sighting and attack. The next day, both the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily published the same follow-up story. It contained the first reference to the name Fook Monster. The Associated Press, the United States Press International Wire Service transmitted the articles to newspapers across the nation. In 1972, the incident was made into a low-budget movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek, which perpetrated the story to an even larger audience. The movie, filmed in Folk, is a pseudo-documentary thriller about a creature in the town, and it stars some of the eyewitnesses and residents of Fook. Suspicious. Reported sightings of the Fook monster date back as far as 1946, when a resident reported to Miller County Sheriff Leslie Greer that she had seen a strange creature near her home. Sightings of a creature had been reported throughout Fook history, but no sighting has been famous as the one that gained national attention in 1971.
Okay. So they're saying that there's been reports of this thing before 1971.
I guess, yeah.
But the sighting and incident was in
as early as
1971.
46, yeah. But the big one that caught national attention. Maybe.
Well, now hold on. The movie was based on the event of 1971.
Yeah, that was so quick.
And the family, let me double check that I didn't read that wrong about the house.
The family, they were in it for a week and moved out. Moved out of the house they'd had for less than a week. And in the movie, some of the eyewitnesses were in the movie. I'm like, Money. It's always about money.
You think it
I'm
was
doubtful.
a staged sighting?
This feels very staged.
Okay.
Especially because it's kind of Bigfoot, kind of just nondescript.
Okay. So I'm gonna type in here.
And the fact that no one made fun of the public account, at least not in like the main view of the media. Like normally the media would eat something like that. They'd tear that person up. You know, their reputation, crazy Arkansas man, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just like, it really happened. We must document it right now. Within 9 months, we have to gestate this movie.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I know that they said low budget film, but even a low budget film should take like 2 years.
I mean, because you got to pitch it, you got to get a crew, you got to get a cast, got to get a script, like
Art design, set design, permissions. That's crazy.
Costume design, all that.
That's a good point, man.
I say it's staged.
Let me see what this says real quick. Oh yeah, these are people who claim they have evidence of the Fuke monster, but their website is so janky I could barely get it. It's like the text is super small, but for some reason the ads and imagery is massive.
Ba-boom. That's no deer.
Yeah, so we may sidestep that one.
Okay.
Okay. Which leads us to the Arkansas.
White River Monster.
We already did that one. It's out of place. The Heber Springs Water Panther.
Bigfoot's house cat. The Heber... Oh, did you want me to read?
You can read it. Yeah, go for it.
The Heber Springs water panther is a creature described as a cross between Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and a puma. I called it. It is rumored to haunt the waters of Greer's... Okay, whoa. Greer's. Okay. Greer's. We just heard about a Greer's, and I'm pretty sure that's the sheriff's last name.
Was it?
Greer's? When I was reading that, the sheriff's last name or something was Greer's towards the end. Yeah, Leslie Greer.
Sheriff Leslie Greer. And then
Apparently they're prominent.
the Water Panther is Heber Springs.
Greer's Ferry.
Ferry Lake. Greer's Ferry.
Where was the other one? White.
The Fuchs
Not
monster.
too far. Oh.
No, Fuchs monster's here.
Oh.
Like opposite side.
Okay, maybe it's just a common name. I was just like, wait a minute.
That is really interesting, though. That's two different cryptid stories with the name Greer. So Heber Springs Water Panther's in this area, supposedly.
Okay.
Oh, there's a hotel near it.
That'd be fun.
Okay, back to the creature.
Warwick Springs. Okay. In Heber Springs, Claiborne County, though its origins appeared to lie in a 2007 book. What?
Oh.
The myth of the water panther begins with Ojibwe, Algonquin, Cree, Ottawa, Mennonite. No, not Mennonite.
Menominee.
Menominee. I almost said Mennonite. And Shawnee tribes.
Huh.
And the legend may have been brought to Arkansas with the Shawnee, who were invited to the area by the Western Cherokee in the early 19th century. The beast was described as a malevolent spirit with features of a big cat or dragon that would drag people underwater to their deaths. Oh my good grief.
Classic.
In his 2000...
What do you put in your drink?
It's just peach and strawberry slush. I don't know what the heck's happening. In his 2007 book, Ozark Tales of Ghosts, Spirits, Hauntings, and Monsters, author W.C. Jameson claims that first Native American residents and later Euro-American hunters and trappers told of a beast that lived in a limestone cave and haunted the Little Red River bottomlands, killing people and animals and emitting a scream that was a cross between the cry of a panther and the scream of Satan himself. First of all,
Golly.
mountain lions and panthers, they're like call sounds like a woman being killed in the woods.
Yeah.
And like my family would, like my mom heard one once when I was a baby and they were staying somewhere, and it was really scary for her one night because she told me that like we were asleep and she just heard a woman like screaming, sounding like screaming for help outside. And she was like, I need to see if that person needs help, but also like whatever's happening outside, like my kid's asleep. And like it was really scary to her. And like my grandma told me stories about how like if you like hear a woman screaming in the woods, don't go to it.
That's so ominous too.
Yeah. So, cry of a panther and the scream of Satan himself. Just a regular panther cry can sound like a scream of Satan himself.
Yeah.
When Greer's Ferry Lake was created by the construction of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers dam between 1959 and 1962, the creature's habitat was flooded. Jameson writes, leading to fewer reports of the monster until 1966 or so, when he claims sightings of the water panther were reported with frightening regularity. Instead of roaming the woods and of the bottomlands, the beast was now seen swimming in the lake, with several people claiming they saw the water panther entering or leaving a cave located on the north shore of the lake, a partially submerged natural opening in a sheer limestone cliff. Jameson wrote of a scuba diver in early 1970s who encountered a horrid man-like form covered in thick, dense fur near the entrance to an underwater cave. The creature moved with astonishing speed through the water and ripped off the diver's mask, but the hapless victim managed to fight it off and gain the surface, suffering from shock and lacerations. He also claims that workers who were converting a cave to a boathouse for the U.S. Senator John McCain and installing an elevator to the cave from the senator's clifftop home were terrorized during the project, as they were subjected to hellish screams and agonizing cries of some hideous creature living in the hole. University of Central Arkansas Professor Mark Spitzer, while working on a book on legendary Arkansas creatures, investigated the Heber Springs water panther. The Heber Springs Sun-Times ran a foot-page story in 2011. Front page, what did I say?
Foot. A foot-page story.
In 2011, requesting that anyone who knew of the water panther contact Spitzer, but the only person who did so was a man from Tumbling Shoals, Cleveland County, which wasn't too far away, I saw on your map, who reported a 6-foot-long black panther slinking through his neighbor's yard, sporting what looked like a mohawk. Oh. Spitzer questioned boat dock owners and members of Cleveland County Historical Society, none of whom had heard of the water panther, and looked through every issue of the Heber Springs Evening Times between 1970 and 1979 without finding a single reference to the beast. He concluded that he agreed with what an old crabby man on a golf cart told me. Son, you're just chasing BS around. Sounds like a hoax to me.
A hoax? Another hoax?
Well,
why do you think this one's a hoax?
Okay, so Spitzer questioned boat dock owners and members of Cleveland County Historical Society, none of whom had heard of the water panther, and he looked through every issue of the Heber Springs Evening Times between 1970 and 79. Without finding a single reference to the beast, he concluded and agreed with what a crabby old man on a golf cart once told him. Son, you're just chasing BS around. So though these people had claimed these things, he couldn't find a single report of anyone even talking to it about it. And when he opened up saying, anyone who knows anything of this, please come talk to me, just one person mentioned he saw a black panther slinking through his neighbor's yard wearing a mohawk. But other than the workers saying they heard a horrid screaming, which it could have just been a real creature down there just like not liking all the noise and like making threatening sounds that echo weird in the limestone and water. I don't think there's any real anything. And then there's that diver, but he could have just been attacked by some scared wildlife and like he couldn't see it clearly and he was treated for shock and laceration. So shock can make you see a lot of things. Not to say that he's lying, but he really probably believed that he saw a horrid man-like form covered in thick, dense fur, but something thick, dense fur in the water. It could have been a real panther swimming around, or more likely some kind of territorial otter or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being skeptical.
So then why would that one engineer claim that he was subjected to, let's see, The cave from the senator's clifftop home were terrorized during the project as they were subjected to the hellish screams and agonizing cries of some hideous creature living in the hole.
Yeah, they never saw it though.
Wouldn't a U.S. senator want to keep that under wraps? Like that would be just a hoax thing he would be
Ooh,
involved with.
dang, now you're getting me hyped on old politicians, and they're always shady.
Hmm.
Dadgummit.
Now here's another thing: if it is a Black Panther, that's somehow a Black Panther got into the U.S. Can a Black Panther swim, and or does it often have kind of a mohawk kind of thing? Now, Micah said if we have any questions about creatures or anything like that in Cryptid Codex, that we can call her, and she said she's available for call. So I'm gonna ask her real quick about the Black Panther and everything.
Okay.
What?
I was looking up if there are any in the U.S. I thought surely there would be. We've got about everything.
What did it say?
So there's not any native Black Panthers in the U.S.
Okay.
There's leopards and things, but not any with the black pigmentation. It's a trait of one's not in the U.S.
Okay. I'm gonna ask her real quick.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Micah, you are on call and in the Cryptid Codex. You want to say hi to the fans?
Hello, everyone. Hello, fans. How's it going?
So, we've run into a strange creature here.
Okay.
So, we're talking about Arkansas right now. And there's a creature that is known as the Arkansas Water Panther. Now, a few of the people in the story have recognized the panther as a Black Panther. Someone said that it was a Black Panther that was sporting a mohawk. Now, I'm not imagining a mohawk as dramatic as, people of the early 2000s or something, but
Right.
I was wondering, this might be out of your wheelhouse, I don't know, but I'm still going to ask this question.
We'll see.
Do Black Panthers swim in their natural habitat?
I will say that they can swim, because any mammal can swim. I will say that it depends on the environment a lot. Because if it's in their territory, then yes, I would say absolutely. However, if it's not in their territory or their environment, I'd probably say that they're a little bit more cautious, just because they don't know really what's around as much. So it honestly just depends on what other creatures are around them, the environment, and if they are like in their home range, I guess you could say.
Okay. There's been different sightings of this creature. And one person even said that it stayed in... Let me see. One person said that it stayed in kind of a lowlands area. They called it the Little Red River Bottomlands. But whenever they made the dam in Arkansas, that it flooded its cave, and it kind of disappeared for a few years. Looks like 10 years. Or
Okay.
no, 5 years, I think. Or 7 or something like that. And that eventually it came back and was reported to be seen a lot more. Often swimming to a cave.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if that's common for Black Panthers to have like dedicated caves, or do they have more like territories?
They definitely have more territories, but I would say that like depending on the like cave, I guess you could say, if it's a good home range and it's a good shelter, then they would definitely be able to take care of that area. So it's possible that it could have a cave. However, it's more like territory talks because there's home ranges, which is like the very far, like how far a animal really just kind of travels, I guess you can say, which is a very big environment. And then there is territories, which is like they are very, very set on like, nothing can really disturb my territory and everything like that. So I would say that a cave is possible. But I am not 100% positive on their environment, I guess you can say. I don't really know what exactly they are doing or what they actually like use for a territory, use for shelter. I'm not sure what they use for shelter.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for all this info. We're still debating on whether or not this was a real creature or if it was a hoax. So far, there's not exactly any like reason for it to be hoaxed, and there's not really any folk reasoning. So there's not like a tale of like stay away from the river or anything, because a lot of these
Yeah.
are stories about encounters or sightings, and not necessarily like don't go near the river or you'll get taken. It's like this
Mm-hmm.
one guy said that he saw it, or this one guy who was working in a cave said that they could hear it, but couldn't see it wherever it was. So we're working with that right now. It's very strange. Someone said that it sounds like the cry of a panther and the scream of Satan itself.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, my input would probably be that I do know that they're good swimmers. They're not like a house cat and aren't afraid of water. I do
Okay.
know that they are good swimmers. Um I don't think that they use caves very often. I think it would be more like trees. Um and maybe something else, but I wouldn't put it past. However, I'm not 100% sure if I'm not 100% sure if they are, if what kind of habitat they use.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your input. I really appreciate it. And I don't think we'll need to call again, but we might still.
Okay, yeah, just give me a text and I'll see. So,
All right. Will do. Appreciate it.
see ya, boss. Bye, stream.
Bye.
Thank you, Micah.
I don't know if she heard you. I hope she did. Well, I mean, I think she
That's
left.
okay. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, sorry. I'm having an
You are tired.
I'm having energy.
Okay. So that was the Heber Springs Water Panther. It's weird because, like I was saying to Micah, there's not a reason for this story.
Yeah, some of these are sprouting from like myths or like things that are spread to like keep kids from doing, getting into the creek or something. But this just seems like, I don't know.
There's no reason for it. Even like the workers who were the engineers for that senator, they or the governor or whatever, they have no reason to tell that story.
I don't know, man. Weird.
Interesting. So this doesn't really have any supernatural account to it. So I'm thinking I'm gonna put it under. Quit touching stuff.
Sorry.
I think I'm gonna put it under. Hey, would you stop touching things? Wife, don't you start. So I'm gonna put this under possible animal because there's no supernatural aspect
I think
about
it's a
it.
territorial animal, yeah.
And there's not any. Like, there might be Native American stories about it, but I don't know.
Tell me when. Tell me when.
You don't need to. It's done.
Okay.
I just said no.
I said,
Okay.
yes, the Snuffleupagus.
So these next creatures, funny enough, are stories that loggers came up with. And so there's
Loggers.
a good chance that these stories don't actually have any validity to them, but that they're just fun stories to tell. And so that will take us into the absolutely fake creatures
Just
section.
bros being bros.
Just bros being bros, telling stories. But with every story, there can be some truth. So that leads us to the Snoffus.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to say that 7-year-old who drew this picture, they should be proud.
They did a good job. It's a good drawing.
It looks like, Yep. Georgia Raptor.
Go ahead and read this one, baby.
Go Georgia. The synopsis of the office is a creature from the tales of the lumberjacks of the emerging United States. The Snoffus is a white deer with wings and huge antlers that lives in the woods of the Ozark Mountains of the U.S. The antlers of the Snoffus are said to be living branches of a dogwood tree and are often depicted as having blossoms on them as well as green leaves. A druid in disguise. The Snoffus is said to be able to leap from forest floor to the tops of trees and to perch on the slenderest branches like a squirrel. False. Squirrels fall off all the time. It is described as jumping from branch to branch like a monkey. What? How many animals can you add to this? I just exorcised a demon.
Bless you.
As it does, it says, hallelujah, hallelujah. It's Medea. At other times, the Snoffus is said to make sounds like a songbird.
Is that what it sounds like? Bless you. Babe, allergies are taking you out.
I'm sick. Now. The Snoffus is purported to exhale blue mist from its... I need to collect myself.
Yeah.
Mist from its mouth which drips upwards towards the sky, forming a blue haze of clouds. It's a chain smoker. Okay. This behavior is particularly... Vape pens. You gotta get rid of them. This behavior is particularly attributed to the Snoffus in autumn. Okay. In Ozark folklore, the Snoffus is commonly associated with other... aliens.
You want me to read this?
I got it.
Okay.
I just saw Alien and got distracted.
Yeah, it's 3D print models.
Other fantastic creatures of the region, such as the Garou, and the Ozark Howler. But unlike the traditional legends associated with these creatures, the tales of the Snoffus are usually told in an openly tongue-in-cheek manner. Indicating that the existence of the Snoffus isn't meant to be accepted as literal truth. It's a telling that the fundamental report of the Snoffus in print comes from folklorist Vance Randall's book, We Always Lie to Strangers. Oh, well, at least they're honest.
There you go.
There are clear mythological links between the Snoffus and the White Stag of Arthurian legends. In the British Isles, both are white deer who appear in order to lead people deeper into the wilderness on some kind of quest. Some versions of the Snoffus legend depict Caleb the mystic white deer as an omen of death, following the Celtic pattern of hellhound warnings, in which one sighting of the sighting leads to delight. Second sighting of the Snoffus summons fear, and a third sighting of the Snoffus results in death. So the first time, deer. Second time, deer. The third time, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Oh death. Oh death. Okay.
Oh god. Can we get through the story, please?
In late 20th century, the mythology of the Snoffus took on a new element as the creature became an emblem for the environmentalist community in the southern United States. That's wild. On the first Saturday of October. Ooh! We have had the first Saturday of October 2 weeks ago.
It's true.
Environmentalists celebrate the Snoffus Day by taking walks.
Snoffus has its own day?
Where they take walks in its natural settings. They literally just said that it is a sign and omen of death. But they're like, let's go on a walk in the woods on Snoffus Day and risk it for the biscuits. Stupid biscuits. People. I don't like people.
I know
sometimes.
You don't like people sometimes. Right.
Can I keep going or do you want to read?
You can keep going. You're
okay.
really into the
and
Snoffus.
I don't know why. It's so stupid.
But I want to read the
it.
Gauro.
Okay. That looks like a scene from The Last Unicorn. In the Ozarks of Arkansas and Missouri. Arkansas can never just do something on their own. The Snoffus is a mythological creature of regional folklore. Described as an all-white deer-like creature, but much larger, the Snoffus is usually reported to have plum or dogwood branches in full bloom growing from its head instead of antlers. Quite magical. Most of what is known about the Snoffus was collected and recorded by the folklorist Mr. Randolph, hello again, who has related the various stories he heard about creatures in the animals and plants chapter of his book. We always lie to strangers.
Can I get out real quick? I get this rest.
Tall tales from the Ozarks. Perfect. All me. Get out of here. Wait. Maybe just stand. Maybe.
I'm still
Maybe stand.
trapped. Trapped like rats.
No, if you stand and go that way.
I got my headphones on so I can still hear you.
Okay, guys, get ready for this. It's the me show. Are you ready? Okay, get in close. This is important to me. Because I think most stupid things are important in some way. There's a lesson to be learned. Whatever. There's my wise wisdom. The blue haze that hangs over the Ozark Mountains in the fall and winter is attributed to the exhalations of the Snoffus, which is believed to emit spirals of blue smoke when it breathes. The smoke then spreads and settles over the mountains. The creature is also said to have the ability to fly and leap into trees. Chat, I don't know about that. In Tall Tale of the Origins of Creature, the Snoffus was said to have been captured by an orchardist who grafted Arkansas black apple scions onto its antlers. Okay, so that could explain. Man, that'd be wild. In another story, a pioneer hunting in the woods ran out of bullets and decided to use plum pits instead. Oh my gosh. After the hunter fired at the albino deer and hit it in the head, the deer nonetheless got up and ran away. You just pelted it with seeds. You shot seeds at it. And the hunter later heard stories of a white buck with plum trees growing from its head instead of antlers. Seeing an albino deer is considered a bad omen in the Ozarks. The Ozarkers warn that coming across the Snoffus is a sign of imminent death. What possessed? Well, it is an Arkansan, but what possessed an Arkansan to shoot a deer in the head with plum seeds because it ran out of bullets? What the heck, chat?
Yeah. So, it sounds like he's wanting to use kind of like bird shot, where he's using seeds to kill birds, but then a deer showed up.
Oh no, he was trying to shoot a deer and he ran out of bullets. So he shot plum pits instead. He had that many plum pits, dude. And you were able to load it in your gun. How big are plum pits? Are they
They're
like
pretty big.
peach pits? I mean, would you have a
Like-
cannon? How did he shoot that?
They'd be bigger than this.
He must have had a big gun. I know it was pioneer time, so it must have been a big old gun.
That's a Lego piece for an example.
Pioneer Man, can you enter the chat, please, and explain why you shot plum pits at a deer?
Yeah, that'd be nice to know. Johan and Raku in the chat. What's up?
And, oh, that was 3 days ago. I was like, bison? But it was 3 days ago.
Yeah. So, that's the strange tale of the Snoffus.
Well, chat, what did we learn? Don't shoot animals with seeds, because then you will create a cultural omen of death, and that's not good for the culture, so.
Is that what we learned?
Mm-hmm. And we learned that I'm not as unlikely that, like, because plants and stuff will try to graft onto anything. I'm a little concerned that it grafted into a living being, but, like, I mean, people like bury people and put a tree on top of them, and the tree does fine, so. Like, some people, they choose that over cremation, so I don't know.
It's true.
I think
Micah
it's
just said she just set up deer feeders, though.
Don't shoot them with plum.
And
Pits.
cameras.
Okay, watch them, but if you know anybody,
Oh, but then Johan said, but it's not in the Ozarks, so it's okay.
migration though.
Migration?
Migration.
Your gration.
I'm Gratian.
I think you're tired.
Yeah. Sorry, Judge.
Okay. Gauro. I've actually heard this story before, And I love this story. Because it's not just a tale about like a creature. It's a tale about a guy killing it. So
Chat.
there's that.
I'm quaking in my boots.
You don't have boots.
They quaked off all the way.
They quaked off. Yeah, this is the Gauro.
That's a walking wide-toothed comb. Also, those feet, there are birds that have feet like that, but they do that so they can walk on lily pads and hunt.
Yeah. Now, using some AIs, I did ask it to create a render of its description.
Oh.
And this is what it came up with. And that looks a lot creepier. What are you doing?
Sorry, it was a work announcement. The high school is going to be closed tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow?
But not the other sites. So, just the high
Okay.
school.
We can talk about it some more after.
Yeah, sorry.
So, this was AI's render of the description.
You know, I can see it. It's kind of like a natural boar mixed with some quadrupedal mammal kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit more believable than this picture.
Yeah, but you got to remember that account was a dramatization to get people to look at the newspaper at the time and kind of monger on that fear a bit. This is probably a little more realistic in that it looks closer to what we could recognize. Like, this is to catch people's eye and be like, did you hear about the Guerrero? Oh my goodness, they're looking for this creature. And they like Mod Podge all the accounts together because the media does that. Go media.
Yeah.
But
now, this is a real newspaper article from the Arkansas Gazette.
Yeah.
Titled "The Green Gauro Killed in Searcy County."
Yeah, but it's always that story of like, my fish was this big. Did you see I caught a fish this big? Oh, hey, go tell him in the back that I killed a fish this big. Yeah, last weekend I killed a fish this big. I'm gonna shut up now. Go ahead.
I'm gonna read the story now, if that's okay.
It is. I'm sorry.
Okay. The Gauro, one of several fabulous monsters reported in Arkansas popular lore, may owe its origins more to journalism than to traditional narrative and folk belief. So you're right about that. The principal documentation of the creature's existence is a story that appeared in the Arkansas Gazette on January 31st, 1897. Apparently written by Elbert Smithy, Elmer Burris provided an illustration, allegedly based on a photograph, to accompany the piece. A photograph, mind you. Fred W. Alsop, who edited the Gazette at the time, recounted the circumstances that led to Smithy's story. William Miller, a Little Rock businessman who had been traveling in the Ozarks of northwest Arkansas, told Smithy of a horrible monster known as the Gauro. Its name came from the noise it made during its nocturnal depredations. The creature had been slaughtering livestock and pets near Blanco, Searcy County, in Calf Creek Township. Miller formed a posse that tracked the Gauro to its lair, a cave littered with animal skeletons and even some human remains. As they waited to ambush the monster, they heard it emerge from a nearby lake, causing the earth to tremble as it made its way toward them. The Gauro perished after several volleys from the posse, but before its death, it ripped up several trees and tore off the leg of one of the posse members. An examination of the remains revealed a creature 20 feet in length, with 2 tusks, large webbed feet ending in claws, and a row of short horns along its back, and then a long, thin tail with a blade on the end. Williams claimed to have sent the body to the Smithsonian. We don't like the Smithsonian.
Lost in a museum.
But it never arrived at the Washington, D.C. Museum. Alsop dismissed the account. It was a great fake, probably without foundation in fact. The Ozark research of the folklore collector Vance Randolph,
Again.
which he did put together the book about all these creatures around.
Oh yeah.
Arkansas,
Oh yeah.
revealed additional details about the Gauro, which he believed had been reported as early as the 1880s. Randolph's sources suggested that the Gauro was a species of creature, rather than an individual monstrosity. The young hatched from soft-shelled eggs as large as beer kegs, and the mother carried newly hatched infants in a pouch. Randolph related a story about an encounter with a Gauro by a spelunker exploring Devil's Hole in Boone County. He also told of someone from Pope County, or Pope
Mena.
County, Mena, who claimed to have captured a Gauro by inducing the creature to eat so many dried apples that it swelled to a size that prevented its escaping into its burrow. The Gauro's captor was exhibiting his catch to anyone who would pay a quarter. That's some big money back then. Once he had a sufficient audience, the man would stagger from behind a curtain with his clothes in rags, announcing that the Gauro had escaped. This sent the crowd into a panic without his having to produce an actual Gauro.
Dang.
That's really funny. Creatures such as the Gauro abound in the folklore of exaggeration that is often associated with the frontier. Though sometimes stories about them may be told as true, more frequently they are tall tales or lies, as some storytellers denominate them. In fact, Randolph presented his material on the Gauro in his collection of tall tales titled We Also Always Lie to Strangers.
Dang.
And see, I'm inclined to believe that this is probably fake. Like 99% fake.
Yes.
However, there's always a part of me that wants to believe something.
I mean, there could have been a creature that inspired this story. It doesn't have to mean that it was like a threat or anything.
Yeah. I mean, in all dramatication, what gives an idea of this? What creature in real life gives this idea? I have an idea, but I want to see if you think of the same thing.
I think of... My first thought was a hyena, but we don't really have those. Kind of. I mean, it could have been like a really mangy coyote. I don't know. What are you thinking? I'm not for sure I follow.
I think it was an alligator. Sharp claws, webbed hands, a long tail with what appeared to be a blade at the end. The tusks is, of course, dramatic, but the spine's on the back.
Yeah, and it does show it's scaled, not furred. I mean, the drawing has scales.
20 feet long. Alligators have the capability of reaching that length.
Yeah, I think it could be an alligator easily.
And, believe it or not, Arkansas does have alligators.
Yes.
So I think it could have been a giant alligator of Arkansas. I gotta head up, but I gotta stop. I wanted to stop by. Feel free to text me through. I need another call. See y'all. Alright. See you, Rakua. Thanks for sticking around.
The Garo refers to a fearsome dragon-like monster from folklore of the Arkansas Ozark Mountains. It is a legendary reptilian cryptid, and its name is to come from the horrifying roar it makes. A Garo is described as a giant green lizard-like beast measuring up to 20 feet long, thick scales, short horns running down its back, 2 large tusks, which could be a dramatization, webbed feet, and sharp claws. The Garo's most notable feature is its long, thin tail, which ends in a sickle-like blade. Legends say Garos live in caverns and underwater layers of the Ozark Mountains.
And they said that the first time they witnessed the Gauro, it had come out of the water.
Yeah, I think you're right. Could be an alligator.
And it took somebody's leg? That's a death roll.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
I think it was a big alligator.
Do you have a Gogre on your list as a cryptid?
A Gogre?
Yeah. Apparently in American folklore, a side-hill Gogre is a fearsome critter adapted to living on hillsides.
Oh.
Having legs on one side of their body shorter than legs on the opposite.
Oh, I know.
Kind of like
what
goat
picture that
human
is.
bears.
Yeah, I've seen those, but are they Arkansas?
Yeah, it says American. Oh, it says American there. I don't think they're Arkansas. Sorry.
That's okay. I know that the difficult part with this is that a lot of the logger stories come from this whole area. So like Arkansas and then like Missouri and Kentucky will have all stories that intertwine really a lot.
Yeah, it says Ozark said to be the home of a creature called a garrow, which is best described as a wingless dragon. An alligator.
An alligator. I'm gonna call it the Gauro is like an abnormal looking alligator or something.
Mm-hmm. There are theories that the garrow was a newspaper host because Albert Smithy just took another cryptid from his home state, the hog dog, tweaked it a little bit for the article. None of the supposed posse hunted it had been verified, and no one ever saw or heard of the posse before the Garrow article.
So there's also a good chance that this guy was just lying.
Yeah, but it was probably based on seeing an alligator, and he was just like, I'm going to tell him it had tusks, and it walked around, and it called me a B word.
It called me a B word.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's his name because of the horrible Garrow sound it makes. Now, here is something interesting. So, a lot of this is considered deep fake, probably, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of this is faked.
Mm-hmm.
However, another sighting in 1935 by E.J. Rhodes heard a commotion in a deep cave called Devil's Hole.
That's what they originally said they saw.
3 miles northwest of Myrtle, Arkansas. He crawled down 200 feet to investigate but couldn't see anything. Later, when he lowered a flat iron on a rope into the cavern, the Gauro bit through the rope.
He just wanted to play tug of war. Every pet wants to do that.
And so, that may not be evidence for anything, but it's just sort of a random thing. And then the Ozark research of folklore collector Vance Randolph revealed additional details about the Gauro, which he believed to have been reported as early as 1880s. Who claimed to have captured a Gauro by inducing it. Okay, yeah. So that's the rest of the story we read last time. So yeah. So that's the story of the Gauro. It's super weird, but it's a fun little tale, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I was able to find the place called the Devil's Hole, Arkansas. And this was a story that came out of it.
Can I read it?
Yes.
Okay.
First, though, I'll give an example of where...
Flat Earth. Did you see that?
What? Oh, this?
Just kidding, it scared me.
It's still rounded.
It was flat for a minute. I was like...
Anyways,
Lost.
I was able to find where that area was.
Ozark Holler.
Yep. That's the Ozark Howler. And then the Gauro. This was as close as I could get to the Devil's Hole cave location. So this area that this little tiny town.
There's the hole.
There it is. It looks like a corral, but
It's someone's
not.
corral.
The reason I think it's this area is because...
With that water. Maybe. I think it's a
Well,
pond.
just a second.
I'm excited.
Can I finish, please?
No.
Okay, fine.
I'm just
then.
kidding. Go ahead.
The area, Pemberton. Somebody claims that they have found the Devil's Hole cave location. And I believe that's where this story starts.
Okay. Here is a story that just screams out for a road trip. Anyone ever been here? I will post the entire story. This sounds like a creepypasta. Devil's Hole Cave, Boone County, Arkansas. In the northern part of the state is Boone County, and somewhere within the county is said to be a small village called Self. although I can't seem to find it on any map. There's reportedly a mysterious location here that has proven to be both elusive and fascinating. Near the village is the Devil's Hole Cave, a strange, unexplored cavern. One day, an indeterminate number of years ago, the owner of the land where the cave is located decided to check out the place. He climbed down a rope about 200 feet to a ledge where the shaft narrows to a point that can only be crawled through. He suddenly heard a vicious hissing from the darkness. Alligator. Perhaps like a large lizard would do, and he made a nasty retreat. Sometime later, he and some men from town dropped a flat iron tied to a rope in the same place in the cave. They heard a hissing sound, and the rope was pulled hard. When they pulled it back up, they found the flat iron had been badly bent and scored with scratches and teeth marks. They next tried a stone, and the rope was pulled taut again. They pulled it back up, and the stone was gone. No one ever wanted to dare and climb down to see what was in the cave. Occasionally, local stories apparently came from the cave, but the Gauro, as the natives supposedly call it, seems to prefer staying down in the darkness. The story dates back to around 1900, and many believe that the monster may be some sort of giant lizard or alligator, but nobody knows for sure. The story closely resembles another pit of this type, and that is said to be located near Hannibal, Missouri. I cannot find any existing records of this hole either, although I've heard a number of stories about it. The tale of the landowner checking out the cave is also said to have occurred here also, but with a bizarre twist. This time, the landowner discovered some friends shortly after his adventure in the cave. His hair turned completely white, and he was wildly insane. Whatever he had encountered down in that cave had broken his sanity. A website visitor named Ted Roberts recently provided new information on the location of Self, Arkansas, and about the Devil's Hole Cave. Ted writes, "I can tell you that the small town of Self does indeed exist. If you look at a map and find Harrison, Arkansas, you will see State Highway 7. About 8 miles east of Harrison on Highway 7 is a place where the railroad tracks intersect the highway. The town of Bergman is about a quarter-mile east of its intersection. These tracks go northwest through Wooded Hills, Myrtle, and Self. The town of Self is about 15 miles up these tracks to the northwest. You can drive to Self going up Highway 65 north of Harrison, about 12 to 15 miles, or about 3 miles past the town of Prosperity. This town is very small like Self. There will be a small dirt or gravel road called Dubuque Road, and you can follow it to Self."
So when I went and looked over here, I found Dubuque Road.
Yeah.
And this area doesn't have really a name, per se. But I wasn't actually able to find a place called Self, Arkansas.
Maybe it's just so small.
That's what I'm thinking. But there's a lot of interesting stuff around there.
It's pretty hilly.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in those wooded hills.
Bear Creek Cave. It's not too far from here. And so, if anybody's heard these tales, look at this house. This house is definitely haunted.
I was about to say, that house probably knows where it is. It's probably the property owner. Not gonna lie.
What's on top of a hill?
Oh. Yeah. I bet it's beautiful up there, though. Can you imagine just going out on your porch and just seeing everything? Can you imagine being that rich to just see all that? Because it's a pretty high point for the region.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you imagine when it, like, snows? Oh. Someday we're gonna live on a hill.
I would like to.
And then our kids could sled down the hill.
We're getting off track.
I think we're getting right on track. This is what the whole stream is about, guys.
Oh, gosh.
Me convincing my husband to go live on a hill.
You think I'm opposed to that?
In Arkansas.
I don't know about Arkansas.
Yeah. I don't know about Arkansas either, but I know it's beautiful in the fall and winter. Ew.
Ew. So yeah, I was able to find Dubuque Road, and this is a pretty small place. I'm wondering if it has anything to do with Self.
Ridge puppies? They have a puppy farm?
Let's see, just type in. See if this...
Arkansas? Arkansas.
That's what it was. This place is Self.
Arkansas.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know about Arkansas?
Yes, I know about it. Oh my gosh, we've been talking about it for almost 2 hours now.
Guys, it's no longer Arkansas.
So, yeah, if anybody's from this area and you found a freaky cave that's 200 feet deep, let me know. I would love to know.
Yep.
Possibly visit.
Log, please.
Very hilly.
Hog Wild Adventures. Tell me about it.
Now we move on to the Ozark Howler.
4029 News. That's the news that my Grammy watches. Used to. I hear it every day at 5 a.m. 4029 coming to you live. 5 a.m.
Ozark Howler. In Arkansas folklore, the Howler is a legendary creature said to dwell in the Ozarks. According to tradition, the creature is bear-like in shape with a dark-colored shaggy coat. Local traditions and documented sightings preserve the mystique of the Ozark Howler, even if some people think it is a myth or misidentified species. On December 2015, the Arkansas television station 4029 News reported that it had received photographs purported to be images of the creature from a viewer. The station contacted the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, who responded that they had heard of no claims of sightings of the creature and said that the images sent to the station were a hoax. Call records to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission during the fall of 2014 include a reported sighting of an animal in Benton County, Arkansas. In October 2014, a recorded emergency call received by the AGFC indicates a motorist nearly collided with an unidentified mammal at 9:45 p.m. The recorded phone conversation indicates that armed state wildlife officers may have been dispatched to investigate what reports described as a bear-sized, gray, fast-running animal on Pump Station Road in Springdale. So let's see. By random drawings, this is what people say they think it looks like.
Ooh, pretty sure we just saw that in our B-lister movie. Go back up. That is so a bear. I'm sure.
Well, they
it's
said
based
it
on...
looks like a bear.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's a really cool picture, though.
Yeah, whoever drew that, go you.
Shout out to whoever drew that. The Ozark Howler, or the Ozark Black Howler, legend has been passed down for generations by locals who have heard things they could not describe, and have seen things that couldn't be described as an animal that you would expect to find in the heart of the Ozark wilderness. Its frightening sound and eerie appearance has been seen in the more remote parts of the Missourian and Arkansas Ozarks, and even farther west in Oklahoma and south in Texas. It is typically described as being around the size of a bear with a thick body, stocky legs, black shaggy hair, and having prominent horns. Most agree that it is either black or dark in color. Its cry is often described as being a combination of a wolf's howl and an elk's bugle. Ooh, I bet that sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Skeptics claim that it's an eastern cougar, a black bear, or some kind of wolf or feral hound. Sightings have been officially recorded since the 1950s, though many Ozark families can pass on stories of their parents and grandparents experiencing in the chill of seeing the Ozark Howler well before that time. What?
They have sound bites.
Okay. We're gonna hear what this sounds like first, and if it sounds good, we'll look it up here in a second. Okay. The sounds were not realistic. They were just like big scary monster sounds.
Yeah.
Okay. It is typically described as being around the side. Oh, I think I read that already. Yeah. Between 2005 and 2010, the howler, also called the black howler, and the devil cat was spotted several times. A family living north of Van Buren in the Boston Mountains of Crawford County set out trail cams after spotting what they believed was a cougar. The images they supplied to a Fort Smith television station appeared to show a big cat similar to a cougar or mountain lion. The problem is that wildlife officials maintain there is not a breeding population of cougars left in Arkansas. They do concede that it is possible there might be individual big cats living in the mountains, pointing out they likely were once held as pets but escaped or were turned loose by their owners. Clip from Travel Channel show Legends of the Ozarks. A search for the Ozarks howler.
Howler. Listen to the scream of
Oh,
the
different animals.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Travel Channel. Travel to Arkansas to get killed by an Ozark howler.
Missouri, near the Mark Twain National Forest, the Sifford family is stalking a creature whose strange vocalizations have been heard in the local woods. Has a new species of predator moved into the forest? Or are they hot on the trail of a legendary mountain creature known as the Ozark Howler? Tonight, they hope to find the creature responsible for the haunting cries.
I think I hear something over there. Where? Over here. Over here. Over here. Yep, I got 8 signature.
I think I see some eyes back in the woods there. No.
Oh yeah, I definitely see something. What is that?
I've lost it. Whatever it was, it's gone.
Wow, that's pretty spooky. That was intense.
That was crazy.
Well, we went out tonight, had something come in pretty close, and I think we got it on the infrared camera. Could be one of those legends, you never know. What could be out there?
Here in these woods, in the Ozarks, there's no telling what it could have been. The mystery goes on. We'll try again another night.
It's clear that there's something lurking in the isolated forest of the Ozarks that even seasoned hunters cannot explain. And until experts can conclusively determine exactly what's behind the mysterious and haunting cries, the legend of the Ozark Howler will live on.
Say bye.
Yeah, you can say bye if you want.
Howdy, friends. I need to go take care of Bubbies, get ready for work. So, bye, guys. This was really fun, and I'm excited for him to tell me about what y'all discover and keep going through. I think you have a few more left, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a few more.
Bye.
Well, I was hoping that video would have a little bit more something, you know? But it's all good. We're going to finish off these last few creatures. Yeah, there we go. And then the last few is just some goofy stuff. So, Ozark Howler, Midwestern folk tale. Oh, hold on. There we go. Here's some light research I've put together on a cryptid and a local legend of the Ozarks. The Ozark Howler, also known in folklore as the Nightshade Bear, Hoo-Hoo, and the Devil Cat. The Howler is said to be a black, shaggy beast with strange abilities, red eyes, and a horrific howl that makes a man's blood run cold. The sound is said to be an eerie hybrid of an elk's bugle, human screaming, and the cackle of a hyena. Some versions of the creature are bear-like, while others are more cat-like. Sometimes the Ozark Howler is reported to have horns like a ram or a goat. Stories of the creature originated when hunters, trappers, and farmers settled... Ooh, lost my spot. Okay. Would tell their stories of haunting howls echoing through the valleys and bluffs. An account of Daniel Boone, the legendary frontiersman, tells of him hunting and killing an Ozark howler while exploring Missouri. Another interesting but unrelated anecdote. Daniel Boone claimed to have shot a hairy wild man while exploring Kentucky. I wouldn't put it past it. Is there any validity to the stories of a beast in the Ozarks? In my opinion, this could be a fascinating blend of mistaken identity and European superstition. Historically and today, many types of fauna call the Ozarks home. Deer, parallels between black bear, mountain lion, and the Ozark howlers. If you search images of the Ozark howler online, most images are very reminiscent of either a bear or, albeit melanistic, mountain lion. Even the creature's eerie howls could be explained by elk, coyote, red wolves, foxes, or mountain lions. Excuse me. All of which can have strange, almost otherworldly vocalizations. Now for the superstition angle, traditional Ozark folklore claims the creature's red eyes can put people in a trance. Another legend tells of the blood-curdling howl being an omen of death. Other tales warn of seeing the howler before you die. If you have a passing knowledge of the folklore of the British Isles, you've no doubt heard of the black dog, also known as the black shuck. Okay, sorry about that. Now for the superstition angle, traditional Ozark, already read that. You've no doubt heard of the black dog. Also known as black shuck, old shuck, or hellhounds, it is depicted as black with red eyes and a transfixing gaze. Like the Ozark howler, the black dog is a bad omen. In Scottish, Irish, and English folklore, those who see the dog are expected to have an untimely end. Some also thought the dog was merely a companion to travel with the dead to the afterlife. Hence the moniker Hellhound. Here's the cool part. Most of the settlers from the Ozarks are of Scottish, Irish, and English descent. Ah, that's interesting. I believe the Ozark Howler is a legend of the black dog seen through filter of the American frontier. Early settlers of the Ozarks were from the Carolinas and Tennessee areas of the Appalachians. The settlers of the Appalachians were from the British Isles. I think it's possible they carried some of their superstition and myths into America. Seeing black folks' tales of the black dog, black bear, and or possibly melanistic mountain lions, and subconsciously merging them into their own ghost stories and folk tales of the black dog. Add in the eerie howls and vocalizations of natural Ozark fauna, and now we have the Ozark howler. Two sides of the same coin. One, a ghostly hound of the foggy moors, and the other, a legendary beast that haunts the hills and the hollers of Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. I think the Ozark howler is the mid-American version of the black dog legend. I've lived my entire life in the Ozarks, hunting, fishing, hiking, exploring, and while I've had some experiences that range from strange to terrifying, I don't believe in the Ozark howler. And actually, I've never met anyone that has claimed to seen one, or believes it either. Hope you guys enjoy the ramblings. And I understand that this is just a Reddit post, but, you know, I think it's better to hear from people who are from there than people reporting about it. That doesn't mean stop watching. Anyways. The Skeeteroo. Now, this one I just thought was funny, so I was just going to toss it in there. The Skeeteroo is a fictional mosquito originating from old North American mythology. The creature has only been mentioned once in a book called Yarns of the Big Woods. Now, the reason I wanted to introduce this one is because Yarns of the Big Woods is tales of loggers, telling stories about creatures that live in the forests and things like that. And I think this is entertaining enough to have added it to the story, to the stream today. Tales of monsters and bizarre events have been a part of Arkansas's lore for centuries. All ancient cultures, including Native Americans, have passed their mysterious legends from one generation to the next. But when Europeans appeared in Arkansas, their wild stories were recorded on paper and spread across the seas. In an attempt to entertain readers, a French writer traveling with Bernard de la Harpe on his exploration of the Arkansas River in 1722 noted that the region had monster-sized bullfrogs and giant turtles. Big bear and panther stories from Arkansas became so popular that they were reprinted in Germany, France, Italy, and even India. Early newspapers, including the Arkansas Gazette, attempted to correct the unfavorable reputation the wild tales had bestowed, but the legends continued to grow. The fact that Arkansas was sparsely settled in the early 19th century helped create many of the original legends. Isolated and with virtually no social activities, families entertained themselves with folk tales they had heard or ones they fabricated on the spot. Also, in an effort to keep children from dangerous bluffs, streams, and caves, parents often invented frightening stories about those dangerous places. Yes, and we are aware of that. An example is at Sharp County's Cave City, where a cavern with an underground river is located. As the area was settled after the Civil War, the walk-in cave became a favorite rendezvous for youngsters, until a story made the rounds that a Mr. Jones had entered the underground stream in a boat and never returned. This may have deterred some youthful explorers, but the cave remained a gathering place, even after the entrance was covered with steel bars in the 1930s. Folklorist Vance Randolph recorded some of the state's oldest monster legends in his early writings. The Gauro, a 20-foot-long lizard-type monster with tusks, reportedly lurked along rocky ledges and roamed caves in the Ozarks during the late 1800s. One story reports that a Gauro was actually killed in Searcy County in 1897, but the carcass was reportedly lost in shipment to the Smithsonian Institute. Other legendary highland creatures include the Galliwampus, a greatly oversized panther or mountain lion, and the Giasticatus, that walked upright and moved like a large bird. Mind you, I did have those names on the list, but there's just not really a whole lot to go off of. The White River Monster legend can be traced to Native American folklore, according to some news features about the Newport area creature. The first recorded sighting was in 1915, followed by another report in 1924. The first national publicity about Whitey appeared in 1937, when farmer Bramlett Bateman reported to the media that he had watched a gigantic sea serpent-like beast frolic in the river near his home. Newsreel cameraman, reporters, and curiosity seekers lined the river downstream from Newport for weeks of hoping to get a glimpse of the gray, slimy beast. In addition to Bateman, 3 other local residents signed affidavits stating they also had seen the creature. Reports of an interest in the river monster eventually subsided, and the incident was almost forgotten. Then, in 1972, several people along the White between Jacksonport and Newport reported sighting strange objects in the river, as big as a boxcar and 30 feet long. Gray all over and with fins. One excited witness reported at least 7 sightings were recorded, and one witness offered a blurred Polaroid snapshot he'd taken out of the elusive monster. It's always blurred. Once again, the national media focused on the small community of 8,000. A Japanese filmmaker arrived in the intentions of making a movie, and hundreds of media interviews were staged. Local merchants cashed in on hype by staging monster sidewalk sales, and a local restaurant placed monster burgers on the menu. Folk singer Jimmy Driftwood debuted a tune about the White River Serpent during a Newport appearance. To ensure nothing tragic would happen to the seemingly friendly creature, the 1973 Arkansas legislature passed a resolution declaring a section of the White River a refuge for the creature and banned anyone from molesting, killing, trampling, or harming. Arkansas proclaimed cousin to Scotland's Loch Ness Monster. That's crazy. Chicago biologist and creature investigator Dr. Roy McCall believes the creature is a known aquatic animal outside its normal habitat. After studies of eyewitness accounts, McCall believes Whitey is actually a northern elephant seal that somehow found its way into the Gulf of Mexico, up the Mississippi, and eventually up Arkansas White River. Elephant seals may attain a length of 22 feet. Golly, really? I didn't know that. Holy cow. Occasional sightings were reported until the late 1970s. Then the river legend faded from the news, but it has not been completely forgotten among locals. The magic dragon sometimes reappears on souvenir t-shirts sold in Newport shops and at local festivals. The most famous of monster legends in Arkansas is the Fuke Monster. Its fame was assured by 3 movies about a hairy, ape-like creature that supposedly haunts the swampy Sulphur River bottoms of Miller County. The first reported sightings of the Boggy Creek monster in 1946, and it was seen again in 1965, but it was an alleged attack on a farmhouse near Fuke Community in 1971 that brought state and national attention to the region south of Texarkana. Shaggy-haired, stinky, and well over 6 feet tall, the creature allegedly clawed its way through the screened window before the men of the house chased the creature back into the woods. Law enforcement officers were called and investigated the scene, taking casts of some strange footprints. Soon after the lawmen departed, the beast returned and was met with gunfire from the homeowners, according to reports. In 1972, Texarkana native Charles B. Pierce produced a low-budget movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek, which I think could be really fun to do a watch-along in our Discord or something of this movie. That'd be really funny. The pseudo-documentary filmed became a cult hit and reportedly grossed $22 million in ticket sales, mostly at drive-in theaters. The hairy humanoid with arms extending almost to the ground was accused of stealing hogs, chickens, and a calf as its fame expanded. The Fuke monster also grew in stature after the movie appeared. By the late 1970s, some eyewitnesses reported the creature to be about 10 feet tall and weigh some 800 pounds. They also noted that it left an odor worse than that of a skunk. 2 sequel films have been made about Arkansas's version of Sasquatch, also known as Bigfoot. But it has been several years since a reported sighting. Motorists traveling US 71 through Fuke may stop and purchase monster t-shirts and memorabilia at a local shop, which I fully intend to do. Not to be overlooked, residents in both northwest Arkansas and the Pine Bluff area have reported Bigfoot-type creatures. Perhaps the most overlooked monster legend in the natural state is the Heber Springs water panther, a weird cross between the Bigfoot and a puma. The creature reportedly can breathe both on land and underwater. It is man-like with a covering of fur and gives off a hellish scream when roaming the deep forests around Greer's Fairy Lake and the Little Red River. Like the others, the water panther has not been seen in recent years. Perhaps fewer people are venturing through the woods and swamps at midnight in the 21st century, accounting for fewer sightings. Maybe high-tech video games and movies have obscured the legends and folk tales of a few decades ago. But if, as cryptozoologists maintain, monster sightings come in 30-year cycles, do they? The beastly season may be just ahead. I've not heard about the 30-year cycles thing. Interesting. Okay. We're going to end just a little bit early just because we got through this whole series a lot faster than I thought we were. If you're interested in finding out where all these creatures are, I'll go ahead and give you a short rundown. So the Heber Springs water panther is found, funny enough, at Heber Springs. Apparently there's a RV resort and a good chance that we'll stay the night at someplace near here just to go and visit these places. I think that could be really fun. Red Apple Inn and County Club. Is there a house out there? Huh. Okay. I don't know what that is, but that's cool. That's funny. I'm assuming boats. Or the water panther. There's a lot coming out of this dock. So yeah, Greer's Fairy Lake access and dock and deck group getaway. Kirsty and I have actually thought about traveling to Arkansas and visiting these different locations and things. So I think that would be kind of fun. And the howler sighting, they said it was near this town. What town is this? Well, I can't remember. But oh. Okay, yeah. I remember. And then let's see. They said that the Snoffus was just near the Ozarks. Ozark Howler, also in the Ozarks. And then Fuke. Oh yeah, another Howler sighting was further south. But Fuke is actually funny because there's actually a store here. It's called the Fuke Monster Mart. And it's a legit whole place that I really want to go visit at some point in life. And a place called Monster Nutrition. So yeah. This is all of the creatures of Arkansas. Not a whole lot, but it does have some interesting storytelling here. I feel like we're going to see a lot more once we can get into like the Missouri area, where a lot more of the Ozark is in. But yeah, that's Arkansas. And I think next is... Well, let me double check before I put my foot in my mouth. So after Arkansas... Oh! After Arkansas, we go into California. That's going to be really interesting. California's got some crazy stories. I'm excited for that one. So yeah, that's what we got. I know this doesn't seem super exciting, probably, but it's all working towards a bigger goal. So, just stick with me here. Because we got some good stuff about California. Some real creepy stuff. Like the Fresno Nightwalkers, the Dark Watchers. I'm excited for this. So, if you liked the stream and you're on YouTube, consider giving us a like and a follow and hit the little notification bell. This isn't what we normally do. I'm actually a game design student who's trying to get his degree in making video games. And this whole stream is putting together some information and research that I'm going to need for one of my games much later on. But I thought it'd be fun to research these things now. Tomorrow, we're going to be practicing some Unreal Engine. If you want to be here for that, it'll be in the morning. If you want to be a part of our community or do some of the other gaming stuff that we do together, consider joining our Discord. I'd love to have you guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream as much as I enjoyed producing it. It's a lot of work. It really is. And I really hope you guys are enjoying it and that this isn't just dying out. If we don't get a lot of support for these kind of streams after we get through with the seas, maybe even California, I may just do this research behind the scenes, but we'll see. So, I appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you guys stick around, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.